Hello everyone, this is Jill and I'm here to give you a week 1 update on the journey to Sub-15. So right now I'm just trying to solve the 3x3 in under 15 seconds on average, and wanted to document that journey, take you along with me and let you know what techniques, tricks, practices that I've been doing in order to get to that point. Just as a reminder, the main rule for this is that in order for me to consider this journey complete, I need an average of 100, that's sub 15 seconds. So some of the things that I've been working on this week are mainly two things. One, I've been working on finger tricks. So I am left-handed, but my finger tricks for my left hand are not very strong, and they never have been since I started cubing. And I would honestly say that my right hand as well could use major improvements. But that's something that I've been doing when I'm not solving, but maybe warming up, multitasking. I would do finger tricks with my left hand in order to build up strength and dexterity there. So some common things I would do is reverse some last layer algorithms, so like the T-perm. So that's one that I would do frequently. Another would be the J-perm. And then another one that I would like to do is anything with a U2. So that's something that was always really difficult for me, is doing this double flick. Often I would do these kinds of turns or these kinds of turns with both my right and left hand. So practicing last layer algorithms that had those U2 movements was really important to me. So things like, so that's one of the R perms. So that was one thing I did, was just focus on finger tricks. And the other thing that I did focus on that took a lot longer, and is going to be something that I'm obviously have to continue to work on, would be, creating the cross for the first layer, but then also looking for the first pair that I want to solve. And so what I did to practice this was giving myself, unlimited inspection time to say, okay, this is the pair that I want to solve, the, blue and orange one. Now, when I solve the cross, where are the two pieces going to end up in order for me to immediately go into that pair? So that's something that I've been trying to work on. I have trouble visualizing where these pieces go because obviously the cube rotates in so many different ways that pieces can quickly disappear if you're not paying attention. The other thing that I would do when I wasn't interested in doing time solves was just solving the cross. But while I was doing my inspection, finding the pair that I wanted to solve first, and then mentally tracking in my head where I thought those pieces would go. And then I would, kind of hide the cube from my sight and then solve the cross, and then say, okay, now with the cross done, where are those two pieces? And so I would say maybe it's, here's the edge and here's the corner. And I would put my hands there. Was I right? I'd look at the cube, yes or no. So very difficult practice technique, and it took a long time, but I do think if I give it more time and dedication, it can be very useful. So that's something that I think I'll try to continue as we move forward, because I think the transition from cross to first two layers is a very slow process for me. And so if I can get started by knowing which pair I want to solve first, that's very helpful. And then I can move quickly into my other three pairs. I would say, in reflecting on some of my past solves, anytime that I found the first pair quickly, the rest of the pairs followed quickly, and I could easily get 14, 13-second solves. So that was really important to my success. So I think that's something that I want to continue to work on. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as what I've been doing in order to get faster for this week. As far as my times go, they range all over the place. I would say my average is still hovering around 16 seconds, 16 and a half seconds for my averages of 100. My session average is 16.59 seconds for this session I'm using for monitoring this journey. So not great, but you got to start somewhere. That's pretty much it for this video. But now here's an average of 12. During that, I will also go over what I'm thinking of practicing for this upcoming week. thanks for watching this. If you are interested in following me on this journey, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, and then also if you have any ideas or practice techniques that you think work really well in order to get faster and more consistent, that's really the name of the game at this point. So would love to hear any thoughts and opinions, so feel free to let me know. Again, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so up front, this was an average of 12 I did, and the average of 12 was 16.54 seconds, and the very last average of 5 I had was 15.14 seconds. Overall, I didn't love this session that I did because I felt like it was pretty slow. There are a lot of solves that I recorded that weren't great, and I don't think a lot of these solves in here were very good either, but I wanted to show you to kind of depict the ups and downs of trying to attain a goal. So, and also just so you know that I'm not like putting in my very best solves to pad my ego. But yeah, I think this average was okay. Just goes to show that cubing is a very much like a, you have your good days and bad days. This was a not great day. Yesterday I had a pretty good session where I did like a 16-second average of 100. The other thing I'll note is like a lot of these sessions or like solves, there's some luck to it. The other day I had my very first sub 10-second solve. Unfortunately, I didn't get it caught on camera, but it was a 9.33 second solve, and I had an OLL skip. The first 3 edges of my cross were complete, and the first pair was complete, so it was just like a really great solve. And hopefully there are more that come my way, but nice to know that this is attainable. So yeah. But as far as like what's going on for this upcoming week of what I'm trying to work on and practicing, I would say it's a continuation of what I've been working on, which is first 2-layer cross to first 2-layer transition, trying to get that a little bit better, because I think when I find my first pair, like I said before, I can just look ahead a lot better if I just feel comfortable knowing where I'm going to start. So being more confident with that is a big factor in it. And then the other thing I'd like to do is over the weekend just look at some algorithms that I do for my last layer, see if I can speed any of them up, get better finger tricks on them, and then also make sure that I'm using ones that are really efficient to my cubing style. So that's another thing that I'm looking at, thinking about, so we'll see how that goes. One thing I'm trying to keep track of is that my cross to first 2-layer time. So I made a 3rd session here, and just random scrambles. I'm not using the random generated scrambles in the app, but just looking at looking at the time in which I take to do my first 2 layers. So if it's ever under 10 seconds, I feel like that's a really good solve. That would be complete. And then if it's over 10 seconds, that means that like my look ahead wasn't great. My pairs were like out of sorts or had a bad cross kind of thing. So trying to get that more consistent in this session, that session was kind of the key. I think I did like 40 solves or 40, tries of that. My average was like 11 seconds, so I think if I can get that session average to be under 10 seconds, that would be super great. And one last note I'll add, if you guys do have any 3x3 recommendations, like what cubes you like what are your mains and stuff like that, would love to hear it just to kind of get a lay of the land. Back when I was cubing, it was the Dian cubes were all the rage, and that was pretty much it. So now there's just so many different puzzles out there, and I'm trying to gauge what's a decent cube that almost everyone's using. It seems like they're kind of split between a couple different names and stuff like that. So wouldn't mind hearing what your guys' recommendations are, just so I can get the lay of the land and maybe buy some new cubes, because I do have disposable income, which is kind of fun to buy puzzles to fuel your new hobby. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Coming up on the last 2 solves here, just consistency is the name of the game. I feel like there's a lot of variance between my solves, and just want to make sure that I take my time and really think about what I'm doing. you know, without overthinking it, of course. And really just doing my best to try and see less variance in my solves. So that's probably the biggest thing that I'd like to see happen this week. But yeah, anyway, that was it for this video. Thanks again for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.